There was a article I was reading that referenced scientists measuring the average attention span of adults. In 2000, the average attention span was 15 seconds. 9 years later, in 2019, it fell precipitously to 8.25 seconds. In that same article, they stated that the average attention span of a goldfish was 9 seconds. Therefore, the average human's attention span is actually shorter than a goldfish's. Of course, there are many reasons for this, as we all know. Social media, TikTok, microwaves, instant gratification society. Many factors that culminate into this current predicament. This can have many troubling trickle-down effects. You ever notice when you're trying to have a conversation with somebody, they are always focused on their phone, on social media, Snapchat, text messages, some other sort of medium? I've come to the conclusion that you can actually have, on average, a better conversation with somebody if you're not in the same room than you could if you're sitting right next to them on the couch. The first negative trickle-down effect I see of this is the inability of humans to communicate properly. As you go down the generational ladder, it gets worse. I'm in the millennial generation. We are the last generation that is, on average, somewhat capable of conversing in person. I've noticed that when you go to a store or you're around people in the lower generations, a lot of them do not have common social cues. Looking you in the eye, the whole bullshit of exchanging pleasantries. How are you? Have a good day. How's the weather? How's the ball game? Blah, blah, blah. Nodding your head. You know what I'm talking about. The common social cues. They don't possess those. Many people don't. That's because their attention is so focused on their devices. The other problematic phenomenon that I see that is arising is the ping pong thought process. This is a term that I developed on my own. I define it as ping pong because of the way that it operates. Think about this. When you play ping pong, ping pong, that's why it's called ping pong. Ping pong, ping pong, ping pong, right? That's an elementary way to describe it, but it gets the point across. When people are on their phones, when they're watching TikTok, when they're on YouTube, and I'm guilty of this as well, I am not immune from these criticisms. They scroll and they see a video. Look at this cute dog. And then 2 minutes later, did you hear what the president said? 3 minutes later, did you hear what's going on in Flint, Michigan? Blah, 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 blah. Instead of focusing on the entirety of the subject, instead of becoming a scholar on a particular topic, they would rather ping pong back and forth and not really grasp the topic itself. Advertisers need to make money. How does this have to do with the short attention span? When you're scrolling through social media, attention is the greatest commodity today in our digital marketing world. As you're scrolling through your social media page, the headlines want to get your attention. That's why they're very bombastic, they're very hyperbolic, they're very tantalizing to get you to click on that article. When you click on that article, it directs you to the company's website, the corporation, news media corporation, and then the advertiser puts money into that corporation's pockets. That's why the headlines are like they are. You click on it. Typically, most people, they don't read the whole article. They just read the first paragraph or the headline, and then they move on. When I say become a scholar on a topic, I don't mean the traditional school sense. Today in the Western world, we have the highest literacy rates in history. Most people can read, write, and comprehend basic words, basic phrases, basic paragraphs. They have the ability, but they don't have the availability, meaning that they don't make the time to really study these topics on a deep level. I'm saying this as somebody that works a full-time job. Sometimes I work overtime. I exercise. I spend time with family. I go out a lot of weekends and do things. I'm not somebody who sits around all day, but I make the availability to understand these topics. I would rather know everything there is to know about one particular topic than to know one thing about everything. The way I go about this, for instance, the two biggest subject matters that I am interested in are history, especially early history, prehistory, medieval history, anything that is pre-1900s, and economics. I'm very into economic theories, economics, so on and so forth. What I do is I set aside at least an hour every day to study that topic. The first thing I do is I look for every reference I can on the internet and at the local library. Once I sponge through those things, I then get a book. Think about this. The average book that you're going to get is going to be written on an 8th grade level. It's going to be easy to comprehend. It's going to be easy to understand. All you got to do is look at the information itself. And the reason I say $20 is because that is the cost of a night on the town, going to a restaurant, taking a girl to dinner, getting some wine, blah, blah, blah. You would spend more than $20 on that than you would educating yourself on the issues at hand. Once you do that, take thorough notes. That way you don't have to go back and reread the entire material. You can just sort of highlight. It's like when you watch the replay of a sports game, you want to watch the highlights, the big plays, the biggest moments, instead of the entirety of the game. It saves you time and you still get the bigger picture. That's why if somebody like me who isn't even that intelligent, somebody that just takes the time to read, who is never a good student, who never even passed a class in college, if I can do this, you sure as hell can. That's why even to this day I still remember Persian history, Roman history, French history, British history, and other types of history. I also remember economic theories, where they were originated, and other things like that. Not because I'm smart, not because I'm any better than you, simply because I took the time I did the due diligence to do my homework, and instead of thinking ping pong, ADHD thought process, I focused on an entire subject in its entirety and tried to grasp and understand it thoroughly before moving on to the next.